What if the system that built the middle class is now destroying it? Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Marcus is 31. His parents just sold their Ontario home for $1,400,000. They bought it in 1992 for $165,000. They never made more than $70,000 a year combined. They paid it off and walked away with over $1 million, tax-free. Marcus makes $62,000 a year, has $58,000 saved, still can't qualify for a $600,000 condo. His parents' retirement depends on a system that locked him out. They're celebrating their windfall. He's got 30 days to find a new place because his landlord's cashing out too. Pensions tied to real estate gains. Funding for affordable housing slashed by 70%. Pensions up, affordability down. This isn't just unfair, it's engineered inequality. And it's not just Marcus, 6.2 million more boomers are cashing out right now. And the system they built makes sure you'll pay for it. And here's how it happened. It used to take 5 years to save for a down payment. It now takes 17. Young Canadians are poorer than their parents. And if you're under 30 or have kids who are under 30, the system that created that gap is about to make it permanent. A new Canadian poll found that 75% of adults under 35 believe they'll have a lower standard of living than their parents. And they're right. In 1985, a 25-year-old earned $51,000 a year, adjusted for inflation. In 2022, that same age group earned $52,000. But housing's up over 800%, and in Southern Ontario, it's even worse. Back in 1985, the average home price was $95,000. Today, it's $873,000. That's an 819% increase. The median net worth for someone over 65 is $1,100,000. For someone under 35, $48,000, and 40% of young adults still live at home. That's the highest rate in Canadian history. This isn't personal failure, it's policy. Decades of government decisions protected existing homeowners at the direct expense of everyone trying to get in. Free education became student debt. Cheap houses became million-dollar listings. Tax-free growth became permanent renting. And the next 5 years will decide who escapes this and who gets buried. For most of modern history, every generation in Canada did better than the last. Each wave of young adults built on the foundation their parents left behind. They had better jobs, they earned bigger paychecks, they had more home ownership. That social contract, gone. Young Canadians today are more educated than their parents. They're working longer hours, they're taking on more debt, they're waiting longer to have kids, they're living with roommates well into their 30s, and still, they can't get ahead. Let's be clear, this isn't just a rough patch. It's the collapse of a promise that held Canadian society together, and it's happening in one of the wealthiest countries on earth. Quick note, I put all this Southern Ontario pricing data into a free seller guide. It shows what homes are actually selling for and how smart homeowners are protecting their equity. Links in the description, grab it, then come right back. So how is it possible that young people are poorer in a richer world? Because the system changed. In the past, wages and productivity rose together. Today, productivity still rises, but wages are flat. Home prices rise, but access collapses. Ownership becomes inheritance-based. Mobility shuts down, and a young generation's trapped in an economy that works better for their landlord than for them. In places like Burlington, the average home is now $1,300,000. That's 14 times the median household income. Even with a 10% down payment, you're still looking at a mortgage of $1,170,000. At 4.5% interest, that's more than $6,400 a month. Most can't, unless their parents step in. A recent survey found 31% of first-time buyers in Canada got money from family. In Ontario, the average gift was $128,000. In British Columbia, $204,000. No gift, no home. And even if you did buy in 2021 or 2022, you're not safe. Rates doubled. Monthly payments shot up 20 to 40%, and home prices are already down more than 20% from the peak. If you bought with 5 or 10% down, your equity's already gone. You're not just behind, you're underwater. Meanwhile, your parents, they bought homes for $150,000. Those same homes are now worth over $1 million, fully paid off, tax-free on the gain. That wealth launched their retirement. That wealth now determines whether or not you get to buy in. It didn't used to be this way. Home ownership wasn't always about generational wealth transfers. But today, that's the only way in. So the question isn't whether young people are struggling. The question is whether this struggle's fixable. Is this just bad timing, or is it structural? Because if it's structural, then it's not about budgeting harder. It's about admitting the system no longer works for the next generation. That's what we'll break down next. How one generation used policy, votes, and property to pull the ladder up behind them, and how we ended up with a system that protects asset holders at the expense of everyone else. So how did this happen? How did we go from affordable homes and rising wages to million-dollar listings and a generation trapped in debt? The short answer: a system that once built opportunity now protects wealth. And that shift didn't happen by accident. It happened in slow motion, one policy at a time. In the 1950s, homes were built for living. They were cheap, they were small, and they were everywhere. Zoning laws were flexible, cities were growing, government subsidized construction, not speculation. But by the 1980s, that changed. We stopped building for people, and we started building for profit. Cities across Canada locked in zoning laws that banned multi-unit housing in most neighborhoods. In Toronto, over 70% of residential land is zoned for single-family homes only. That's not just inefficiency, that's protection. It protects the value of homes already owned. It limits new supply, and it keeps the next generation out. At the same time, interest rates fell, asset prices exploded, and the biggest winners were the people who already owned real estate. From 2000 to 2020, the average Canadian home price rose over 400%. But none of that gain was taxed because Canada doesn't tax capital gains on primary residences. So if you bought in the 90s for $200,000 and sold today for $1,500,000, that $1,300,000 profit is tax-free. Meanwhile, renters pay the highest share of their income on housing. They miss out on appreciation, and they get nothing in return. This is the real divide. Owners versus non-owners. Not rich versus poor, not left versus right. It's about who got in and who got locked out. And the older you are, the better your timing. In 1985, rates were 15%, but homes were cheap. The median price was around $82,000. So even with high rates, your mortgage payment was under $18,000 a year. By 2022, that same buyer now pays over $36,000 a year, double the cost, for a lower rate, because the real driver wasn't interest, it was price. And those prices were protected for decades by governments more focused on keeping homeowners happy than building homes. Why? Because older Canadians vote. Senior voter turnout is near 80% federally. So which group gets the attention? It's not personal, it's math. Democracy responds to the loudest voices. And for the last 30 years, those voices belong to people who already owned assets. Here's what this looks like right now. If you bought in 2005 for $300,000, your home's worth $800,000 today. That's $500,000 in tax-free equity. But if you're selling to downsize or move, the next generation can't afford to buy it unless you're willing to hold financing or they bring family money. This is the market you're navigating, and it's not getting simpler. We're seeing this play out right now. I just helped a seller who listed at $850, got an offer at $820, but the buyers needed their parents to co-sign because even with 20% down, they couldn't qualify on their own income. That's not a weak buyer. That's a system that prices out dual income professionals. This is what I'm navigating with clients every single week. Globally, we've built economies that reward holding assets over building value. And Canada might be the most extreme. We combine tight zoning, tax-free gains, low property taxes, and huge population growth. The result? Skyrocketing prices and generational gridlock. Older Canadians saw their wealth explode. Younger Canadians got priced out. And here's what no one wants to admit. Most of that wealth won't transfer until it's too late. The average inheritance in Canada happens at age 58. By then, your own kids are grown, your prime working years are over, and any dreams you deferred are harder to chase. Some will inherit a down payment, others $1 million home, but many will get nothing because their parents didn't own property or already spent their equity. So the wealth gap keeps compounding, not just between generations, but within them. If your parents owned, you'll probably buy too. If they didn't, you probably won't. That's the new rule, and it's not merit-based. If you're selling in Hamilton, Burlington, or Ancaster, this market's more complicated than it's ever been. You're not just pricing a house, you're navigating buyer financing limits, appraisal gaps, and a generation that needs creative solutions to close. I work with sellers every day on exactly this. If you want to talk through your situation, whether you're downsizing, relocating, or helping family buy, Book a free strategy call. Links in the description. Let's figure out your best move. Young Canadians aren't just behind, they're locked out. We're in a housing system that stores value but doesn't create it. It rewards those who got in early and punishes those who didn't. It doesn't matter how hard you work, it matters when you started. That's not how it should be, but that's how it is. So what do you do if you're caught in the middle? If you're a seller trying to navigate a market where buyers can't qualify, or a parent trying to help your kids buy in, the system won't fix itself overnight, but you can still make smart moves within it. That's what I help people do, whether it's pricing strategy for a market with tight financing, or structuring deals that work for buyers who need family help, or timing your sale to maximize what you've built. This isn't about waiting for policy to change, it's about working with what exists and making the best decision for your situation. If you grab the seller guide earlier, that's your starting point. If you want to go deeper, book that strategy call. Either way, don't navigate this alone. The market's too complicated and the stakes are too high.